The solution to your problem is not going to be found in the problem, it's not going to be found in there. You have to get out of the problem so that you can look at it, make an assessment, and you can assess how to solve the problem, or whether you need to solve the problem or not. Problems you have to get in there. But if you take a step back, you can usually say, oh, little adjustment here, a little adjustment there, and that thing is going to sort itself out. Detachment is a superpower, man. What are some tools for detachment? My original experience with detachment, this is one of those moments in my life where I recognized, like in a moment, what detachment was and how helpful it was. I'm on an oil rig, doing a training mission. My whole platoon is in a skirmish line looking at a large area of the oil rig that we're supposed to be clearing, and I'm standing in the skirmish line. And by the way, I'm the youngest and most junior guy in my platoon, and I'm standing there looking down the sight of my weapon, and I'm waiting for someone to make a call and tell us what to do. And I wait for 5 seconds, and I wait for 10 seconds, and I wait for 20 seconds, and no one's saying anything, and we're waiting for a leader in my platoon to make a call to tell us what to do. And finally, after like 30 seconds, which seems like an eternity, I can't take it anymore, and so I take a step off the skirmish line. I look to my left, I look to my right, and what I see is every other guy in my platoon is staring down their weapon, and I'm looking, and I'm thinking, oh, there's my platoon commander, he's looking down the scope, the side of his weapon. There's my platoon chief, he's looking down the side of his weapon. There's my leading petty officer, he's looking down the side of his weapon. So everyone in the platoon is looking down the side of their weapon, which means they all have a very narrow field of vision. Well, when I take a step back and look to my left and look to my right, guess what kind of field of vision I got? I got a massive one. See the whole scene, and I can see exactly what it is we need to do. So I muster up all the courage I can, and I open my mouth, and I say, hold left, clear right, and I'm expecting to get kind of slapped, told, shut up, new guy, but instead everyone just repeats the call, hold left, clear right, hold left, clear right. We execute the maneuver, and we finish the clearance of this oil rig, and we go into the debrief. And now I'm expecting, okay, now I'm gonna get told, hey, what were you doing? You need to keep your mouth shut. And instead the platoon chief goes, hey, Jocko, good call on the cellar deck down there. And I was kind of like, yeah, that's right. But then I thought to myself, hold on a second, if I'm the youngest, most junior guy in this platoon, why was I able to see what we needed to do and make that call? Why did that just happen? And then I realized it was because I took a step back. I broadened my field of view, which allowed me to think more clearly. I took a breath before I made my call. Right, I had to take a nice breath to speak clearly, and I realized that taking a step back and detaching, I got to see infinitely more than even the most experienced guys in my platoon, and I started doing all the time, and it always allowed me to see what we needed to do. Then I started doing it, like when I was having conversations with people and having a conversation with my platoon chief, and I can see that he's starting to turn a little red in the face, and we're about to argue about something. I said, oh, wait a second, I'm taking a step back, looking, though he's getting mad right now, and he's the platoon chief, you better just de-escalate this thing real quick. And I'd say, hey, you know what, chief, that sounds good, let me go re-look at the plan or whatever. And so I started to do this kind of with my normal life, was to not to get wrapped up in the details of what was going on, but instead take a step back, detach, look around, and then you can make a better decision. When I teach this to people now, the mechanics of it, take a step back, I will literally push my chair back away from the table, change my perspective, widen my field of view. If you're in a meeting, or you're in a you're at the supermarket parking lot, and someone starts to yell at you, take a step back, take a breath, broaden your field of view, detach from those emotions that you're having, and make some space. And that's how I go through the mechanics of detachment. And if I start listening to what you have to say and not talking, it's very hard to be detached when you're talking. It's another key component. You want to detach, shut your mouth. I'm more capable of seeing what holes there are in their plans by not moving my mouth, not talking. I'm listening. So those are some of the methodologies that I use and that I advise people to use in order to effectively start down the pathway of being able to detach in various scenarios. When we narrowly focus our gaze on one target, a number of things happen. Our visual world becomes constricted, of course, but also that we start slicing time more finely, and the dopamine system tends to start doing a kind of anticipation and trying to guide and direct things in that narrow tunnel of view, whereas when we literally take on panoramic vision, we slice time differently. Things don't feel as imposing on us. This is the physiological substrate underlying what you're describing, and I think it goes a step further, because in that larger aperture of visual understanding there's an open larger window of cognitive understanding, and new options start to surface. Things are happening at all scales all the time, and we think we know the scale to pay attention to, and we think that that's the one that matters most. But new options, new perspectives actually come from that broader field of view, which is what you're describing.